Focus Warrior Podcast, John and Aaron. Hey, Aaron, what's up, brother?
Fucking knew you were going to go there. Hey, Ron. Mate, hey, I'm good, bro. I'm good. And you bet me to the opening because I wanted to do the opening. And this is about a really deep conversation we're about to have today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening to it. So, guys, before we even start, big thank you to John, Focus 20 Coaching, and Warrior Shed for bringing this podcast to live to you. And get your tissues out because you're gonna fucking need them today, I think.
I
So
think so, bro. I think so.
I think there's going to be a few things in here I haven't heard before, and I've known you for a few years now, so I can't wait. So we're
Mm.
going to get straight into it. Last week we were talking about the mask, and we are talking about removing the mask and just becoming your authentic self. But today we're not going to go back in history too much. But I do want you to give the listeners, especially our new listeners, a little bit of a brief story on what brought us to this point. But then I want you to open up. And how I want you to open up is like as a father and as a husband, how you dealt with that period. And talk us through like how you coped, literally how you survived at the end of the day. So, bro, tell us the story, man.
Wow, bro. That's a good way to lead into this, man. On For our new listeners and even our return listeners, those have been with us since day one. Thank you, first of all. If you've listened since day one, you know my story. But for those that are new, so the main reason why I sit before you here and I still get to sit with you and grace my presence with you guys is because, on October 30th of 2022, my family and we just absolutely were devastated and destroyed, and our lives changed forever because we lost our 17-year-old boy, Jaden Nash Alvarado, in a car accident. And man, I can go into a lot of detail about that, but what I'll tell you is I've been thinking about that time, just kind of comes up every once in a while, and I kind of relive it, go through the moments, really just talk through, kind of within my own mind. Sometimes I go sit at the site and I'll just, have conversations with Jaden and, leading up to that point, there's a lot that goes on day to day, and every day is different. But bro, imagine that day, right? And then imagine what's next. Imagine the phone calls I had to make, the call I had to make to his boss at Topgolf, the calls that I had to make, the things that I had to do next, just in that day,
Mm.
where I had to go, dreadingly going home that night, which by the way was the worst night of my life. Going home knowing that my boy wasn't going to be home with me. My wife, who Mama Bear, I mean, if anybody's listening right now and you you just can you imagine you can't as a mom of knowing that your baby boy, your baby is now gone. And the next day was supposed to be Halloween. He was supposed to be dressing up. And it was just there's so many things, bro. And so again, I definitely want to bring you along here on this journey. So, just imagine that part first of all. And then what happens next?
Mm.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Let me put it to you this way, Aaron. At the time, I was working for my job and I was doing really well. And they were sending me that following weekend, they were sending me into a work conference in Las Vegas that I had already, I mean, I didn't really have to pay for anything. I had to, get arrangements ready and stuff. And bro, let me tell you this, man. There's so much in that week. Getting up every day, and deciding whether or not I was going to take the week off, if I was going to even fly to Las Vegas, how was my wife going to react if I continued to try to work?
Mm.
What was going to happen? How was she going to be mad at me for not? Did she feel like I wasn't going to grieve? Bro, this is week. This is the next day,
Next
Aaron.
day.
I'm already thinking
Fuck.
like this. And by the way, we didn't stay at our house the first week. And what I mean by that is we slept here, but we did not stay here during the day. We get ready and we would go to her mom's house, which my mother-in-law, she lives about 2 minutes away from us, which so it's really easy, quick to get to her house. and we literally would sit there from sun up to sundown and just I'd watch my wife cry, I'd watch my daughter cry, I'd watch my
Mm,
mother-in-law cry, I'd watch
mm,
everybody came over visiting. Bro, it's and even thinking about it now, it's so just ugh. So as a man, as the husband, the provider, what do I
mm,
do next?
mm.
How do I how can you watch your loved ones hurt so bad? Which, by the way, I think that's anybody, right? With your loved ones, bro. You. I mean, again, I want to give you, a small bit of the floor too, but I want to say, man, you've said this before. Watching your dad and not being able to take away that pain is the worst feeling because you feel helpless,
Yeah, and
right? And so just as a man, you just feel helpless, bro.
that's exactly
You
why I
know?
want to tap into this, in that moment because you just lost your son. So a part of you as a father is gone. But you still have kids that you need to be
Yes.
a father to, and you have a grieving wife while you're grieving. So yeah, as that, that protector, that provider, as the man that, we get told to step up when times get hard. Like in that moment, and like fuck, we're only talking the first few days. Like in that moment,
Yeah.
like yeah, what was going through your head? I mean, what did you feel was the easiest solution? Let's start there.
Yeah, that's good. So I'll give you the easiest, well, what I thought was the easiest solution, man, which was for me to lean in and continue to be the protector because I knew I couldn't take away the pain. I knew that pretty early on, obviously,
Mm,
it didn't matter. I mean, I'd sit there and just hug her for hours and just watch her cry. Same thing with my daughter. And bro, I just felt like the best thing to do was to lean into work more. Not that I was ignoring it. I mean, at least at the time, I didn't think I was. I know there was a level of that, kind of not ignoring it, but just trying to kind of push it a little bit aside so that I could try to push through.
mm.
I can say that now, but back then I didn't know that, right? I just thought this was what I should do. So I leaned into work, bro, and I told my wife, and I, I was very, very gracious about it. I said, listen, I just think it would be better for me to work. I can at least let you have your safe space, but this is the only thing that I know how to do right now because I can't just sit here for 8 hours and do nothing. I'm gonna lose my mind, right? And so she understood, which was awesome. I will say that every part of where I was nervous, she accepted. She may not have liked it, but she
Mm.
accepted it, bro. And I'll say this one thing about this too, Aaron, is so me thinking that way. I also said to her, would she be okay if I still went to my work conference?
Oh, fuck, that would have been tough.
Bro, you want to talk about one of the hardest decisions.
Yeah.
And it's a week later, and my boss knew. So she
Mm,
said, John, if
mm.
you don't want to go, you don't have to. It's not like she was riding me to go. She said, you don't have to go. Don't worry about it. Just
Now,
I'll leave it completely up to you.
in that moment, though, was that because obviously, 2 years later, you're a very different man to where you were then. But in that moment, was your thought process distraction than anything else? Like, what was it that made you decide that the best thing for me at the moment was have to go to work?
I don't know if it was distraction, Aaron, more than it was um, maybe trying to put a band-aid over it for that time. And by the way, I will say this. This wasn't me just trying to go to Vegas just to go to Vegas, right?
Mm,
It was I was really excited about it because it was a good conference for me. And prior to all of this happening, I was super pumped for it. So part of me was still going, you know what? Maybe if I change the scenery up a little bit, maybe if and again, not that it would help. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying I was trying I was trying everything, Aaron. I was trying everything, man. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't
mm,
know
mm,
how to even operate. So when she said that, I told her, I said, would you be mad if I went? And she said, no. She said, I'm obviously not going to go with you, but I want you to do what's best for you and what you think is best. So if that means going, then I support you. And bro, it just felt like I was receiving that wrong. I didn't feel good about it, but while I was there, dude, it was, bro, wasn't a distraction, Aaron. I was at my worst at that conference trying to, and this is the thing, I'll tell you how. Walking around that conference, watching everybody operate, I was just hating everybody. I was mad at everybody. How dare you? You don't even know what I've been through.
Yeah.
Standing in corners crying in between sessions, hooking up with my coworkers that were there. They all knew. So of course they were like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here." So, dude, Aaron, you want to talk about just flying blind, bro? And by that last day, by the way, when I was getting ready to leave, I just didn't want to do nothing. I didn't do nothing. As a matter of fact, once the classes were over, I went up to the room and I just literally laid there and bawled my eyes out because I didn't know what to do. I even felt more helpless. And of course, I was in
Mm.
communication with my wife and what was going on back here and everything. But dude, so
Now,
that's the early part. That's the
so
early part, bro.
timeline, obviously, you had the really horrible news, and then a week later you were in Vegas. So timeline was the funeral and the celebration of Jaden's life before you went to Vegas or after?
No, no, no. So we actually, the way that we decided to celebrate Jaden was not to do a funeral, but to do a celebration of life for him.
Mm.
And we chose January for that. So he passed on October 30th, and we actually got arrangements together to have a celebration of life for him in early January.
Oh,
And so
fuck.
it was definitely a while, bro, before we did it. And of course that was, dude, I mean, just like anything else, you're accepting it or trying to accept it, trying to even just figure out details.
Yeah.
My wife and I were figuring out where the venue, how the venue, who was coming, who was gonna. We started what is it? Gosh, I'm just slipping my mind now. It's
Okay.
kind of like what
GoFundMe
am
or
I
something like
thinking of,
that?
Aaron? What is it?
GoFundMe?
Yes, similar to that. It wasn't GoFundMe exactly, but it was similar to that.
Mm.
And all the proceeds went to, the expenses for that. And it turned out beautiful. Aaron, but the thing is, bro, is that we would preoccupy ourselves with certain things, but then we weren't preoccupied. It was the worst.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, for I would say I would say every day after that happened for about 2 months. So all of November, all of December, my daughter was here at our house with my wife, and all they did all day, every day, bro, was lay. We had a big air mattress blown up in the living room, and all they both did was lay next to each other and watch Game of Thrones and just binge watch TV all day and sit there. And bro, it was so freaking cool to watch, Aaron. I don't even know how to describe it, man, because in that moment, I just felt like they had each other.
Mm. Mm.
But meanwhile, there's me.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
me. And then I go, I don't want to do that. But in this moment, I feel peace. So that's enough for me. But it still left me on my own grief journey to try to
Yep.
figure out what the hell I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in that moment, did you feel alone? But I also want to go back a little bit. Now, naturally, there was no, like, the celebration was for the wider community, for all his mates and everyone. But as a family, just the family, just you, his siblings, your parents, like, and obviously, for those of you that don't know, like, his mate passed away in the accident as well. So was there a private, ceremony for Jaden just for you guys? And again, was this before you went to Vegas or when you came back?
Yeah, bro. So just so you know, everything. So when he passed on a Sunday. I left for Vegas that following Saturday. So it was within that week is when I was gone to Vegas. So everything that transpired after the fact.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
was
that
it
kind of
was
puts
1 week, dude. That was
that
it.
puts everything into context. Like, you've literally just, said your final goodbye to
Yeah,
a boy, and then
yeah. 6 days later
you're on a business trip.
on a
Holy
plane.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
dude,
So
I'm telling you, I mean, this is the thing, and I'm sure it's giving you the heebie-jeebies, right? Because think about it, man.
look,
I was torn between two
yeah,
worlds, and it just wasn't, it didn't, it was confusing. And I couldn't go to anybody there. I went to one. one of my friends. And I said, well, what do you think I should do? And he just stared at me. And he stared at me. And he stared at me. And I said, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. And I'm not sure. I don't know if this is right. And he goes, I think you already have your answer, but whatever you want to do is the right answer.
Mm, mm.
And dude, I mean, he led me to it. He made me make the choice. He wasn't going to tell me to go one way or another, bro. But yeah, Aaron. So just so you know, no, we didn't have a private ceremony, bro. But the closest thing we got to kind of a private ceremony was picking up his ashes from, the place, and they
Mm,
had like a room for us to go into. It was a really, really dark lit room that
mm.
had his urn kind of up for us to go in and has pictures up and everything. We did kind of just sit there for a little bit and bro, you want to talk about another overwhelming time? That
Oh,
was
mate,
that was wicked. Oh, that was
because
wicked. I can't even explain that to you, bro.
I don't think many people could imagine it unless they've experienced it. And the only thing that kind of like and amazing so far, because I know we're going to go a little bit deeper here as well. But like the first thing that comes to me as a man is distraction. But it's not distraction in the full term of the way distraction. It's like you just got to keep yourself busy because
Yes.
if you stop, then that's when you get lost in your thoughts and your grief and your pain. So you felt like you just have to keep on moving. And I get that part.
Yes.
I get it. So and when you saw, your daughter and your wife like bonding and dealing with, obviously the grief and the loss in that time, like how did you feel? Did you feel, and you said that you felt great in that moment that they had each other, but at the same time, was there an element of loneliness as a father and a husband in that time?
Oh, dude, absolutely, Aaron. It was scary because, like I told you, it was peace, but it was also scary because I was
Mm.
going, am I losing them? Am I losing my family now? Is how it's gonna be? Am I gonna be married next year? Dude, I
Right.
had a lot of questions, Aaron.
Because you were
Because, dude,
finding that I needed to keep busy because if I stopped and did what they would do, I'd lose it.
yes,
Fuck. So you were literally mirroring each other, the thing that you didn't want to do, but they were doing the thing that, okay, I see where this at. So,
yeah.
yeah, like, how am I going to phrase this? Like, there's probably no way of framing the question. I want you to sort of take us through from that moment when you were just feeling lost and alone and trying to have to deal with your own shit and deal with your own pain to when all of a sudden there was a light moment. Take us through
Oh.
that dark period there.
So I did mention November and December, darkest
Mm,
months, darkest. And holidays in there too, bro. Come on. I mean, we experienced Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. By the way, there was also a family trip where we were taking him to Mexico for his 18th birthday
that's right.
that we still went on.
And what? Oh, fuck. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, this is really again, there's no coincidences in life. Jaden's birthday is on the same day as mine.
Yes.
So again, no coincidences there. All right, so you had to go through so fucking much in that 2 month period. All right,
Yeah.
talk us through it now. Yeah, talk us through, your decision making on why you still had to function as best as you could as a family, but what was your role in that as the husband and the father? And not
I
only what your
wanted,
role was, but also how you were coping on an emotional level.
okay, so emotionally I was a wreck. I was an absolute wreck, bro. I was not stable at all. I wanted to drink and probably did drink as much as I possibly could to escape it, right? There's that. I was drunk every day in Mexico. I did not, I mean, and we balled every night. It was, dude, I mean, I hope everybody's getting this because it's hurting my heart just reliving this. But, bro, we did it because we agreed that this is what he would want. That he would want us to still celebrate him and not sit and and do things. opposite who Jaden was and is, excuse me, who he is, right? He's so full of life. He's such the life of the party, and he would not want us to skip out on a family trip, even though he's not with us in his physical being. So I was hard. I could have skipped that one, Aaron, but I chose to respect, and we all kind of came to the decision together. But dude, I mean, those 2 months, Aaron,
Yeah.
darkest, darkest months ever. Now, fast forwarding to January, we had his celebration of life that first weekend of January. Again, beautiful ceremony, beautiful. Everybody showed up, showed out. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. Then all of a sudden, Aaron, let me throw this in the mix, dude. I developed a small case of anxiety where I felt like every time I took a bite of food, I couldn't swallow it. My throat felt like it closed up. I lost probably 20, 25 pounds because I couldn't eat. I was afraid to eat. I was afraid I was going to choke myself to death.
Wow.
And I would go places, bro, and I would shake. I'd get around crowds and I'd shake. I'd freak out. And mind you, Aaron, we were still doing things. We're still going to dinner with his friends. We were still functioning as a family. Meanwhile, I am destroyed because I'm like, if I can't eat, how am I supposed to live? What am I supposed to do?
Mm.
I can't just eat soup. I don't like soup. I want to eat some freaking chicken, right? And bro, so I'm telling you all of this, right? This happened right after the ceremony. Then I went about with work. Two
And there's
weeks later, I
still obviously a lot of alcohol in that time as well.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so we'll call this mid-January, mid to end of January. I'm just having a casual conversation with a director at my office, and I told her what happened, and she said, "You know, John, I am in charge of." Um, she called it employee assistance, and if I ever needed a counseling or anything like that, and I said, "You know what? That would be absolutely amazing. Yes, I will take you up on that." And she said, "Okay,
Brave moment.
give me a minute. I'm going to send you a link. Go here, sign up." And dude, guess what? It ended up being Grief Share, Aaron.
Ah,
The
nice.
light came on.
Yeah.
The light came on for that, bro.
All right. I'm going to go back into that 2 months of darkness because obviously the light came on in, end of January. And, also you're still there, which is super fucking cool. An integral part of the movement that or the community you guys are creating, based on your experience, based on how you've navigated yourself to get out of that to become the man that you are. You're there, aiding and helping and supporting grieving parents and grieving people in the grief share, and that's commendable and that's fucking amazing. But obviously, coming back from Vegas, and before you had the celebration, like for you it was alcohol. Like, let explain to me and explain to the audience what that darkness felt like. Like, how did you, like, let me even ask you another question. How did you keep fucking going day by day when you were drowning yourself in alcohol? And then there was a lot of pain that was coming up because that's what fucking alcohol does. It brings up so much fucking shit. How did you cope, bro? Like, how did you keep going from day to day? What was it that kept you going?
Aaron, I think you had mentioned this a little bit ago, is that I had these little times when I would read stuff that would say things like, if you lose someone, why does everybody else have to lose you? And it was in not, I mean, I'm probably butchering the quote, but it was something along those lines, right? Where I'm still here. It's not fair for me not to show up for people that still need me,
Mm.
even though I'm going through the worst possible time. And honestly, Aaron, I would put that in my pocket every day. And I mean that just from a figurative standpoint, right? Just every day I would say, somebody needs me right now. I'm at my worst. They know I'm at my worst. They know that I'm crying every day. They know that I'm not right, but I'm still I'm still here, but let me put it this way though, and I got to put this again. It was this back and forth battle, dude. I'm still here, but I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
That was scary, Aaron, because I didn't care if tomorrow was my last day. My wife would say that all the time. Man, we still woke up. And dude, hearing that, I'm like, ooh, Aaron, those days, bro, were just, I mean, I think, Aaron, and I'm being very, very serious. I believe those days were truly dark. And I mean this from, when I think about those days, those 2 months, I don't know that I seen the sun purposely.
Mm.
I think I stood away from any and everything I could. I don't even know, bro, that I communicated with you very much during that time. I
No,
don't think I did. I think
no.
you sent me messages, but I
Yep.
think I ignored any and everybody. I don't think I was even on social media
No,
at all.
no. You were definitely absent and definitely quiet. And hey, I knew what you were going through, 100%. Right, but I didn't know the depth of it. And I think the hardest
Well,
thing
because
was that,
we were pretty casual friends at
yeah,
that point. We weren't brothers yet.
no, no, not at all. And I think really what I'm getting out of this is that you were so alone. Everyone around was grieving. You knew you needed to still hang around, but you didn't know in what capacity. Now, was a lot of your anger, was it you directed at yourself, or was it in some cases directed at people around you? Because hey, you really never surrounded yourself with people. So yeah, where was the anger directed? Because there was obviously anger, there was grief, there was pain there, and we need to express it in some form. So was it internalized, or did you kind of let loose every now and then?
No, the anger, bro, was never really directed at me because I had said this even from the beginning, dude. I had said that I don't have any regrets with Jaden. He and I spent so much time together, bro. I love our memories because I literally was his shadow every day leading up to that time. Every day, because I worked from home, so I watched him leave for school. I watched him come home. I watched him leave with his friends. I watched him come home. I took him to Top Golf every day. I'm actually the one that helped him get that job. I remember the day that he got the call that he got the job, and I remember giving him this monster hug and telling him how proud I was. Aaron, I was a very present man for him. And so it wasn't anger toward myself because I feel like I said everything I wanted to say to him, even when he didn't want to hear it.
Mm.
I did everything the best of what I thought was a good father. And, I remember right after it happened, my daughter came up to me, she hugged me, and she said, Jaden had the best dad. And I just lost it. Damn, my
Like,
waterfall.
I actually think that was a moment that people are just all of a sudden bawling. So yeah, I'm sure people have just grabbed their tissues. Yeah, no, I feel that. I absolutely feel
Yeah.
that, and that
Yeah.
only because I'm a father, and
Yeah.
I know exactly how that would feel. Fuck.
Yeah, it hits you. It gets you. But so, bro, I would say, I mean, from an internal standpoint, a lot of my anger was at the fact that people didn't get it. There was
Mm.
people that just went along with their life after they visited, and I just didn't get that at that time, right? Of course, now I understand. I've gone through a lot of grief share groups. I've got a lot of counseling, and I understand it now. But at the time, I was like, you don't understand. I'm the only one going through this. You don't get it. And bro, I want to get into all of the, what I've learned since then because that's for another conversation, but I'll say
Yep.
this. It's a superpower that I now hold that allows me to be in the space of other people and go, I know exactly what you're going through. Let's talk.
Yep.
And be able to hold space for them, bro, and understand where they come from. Does that make sense?
100%, 100%. Because I think that was the first thing I said to you is that, I didn't message to say, hey, if there's anything I can do, I'm here for you. It's like all I said was that I'm here for you when you're ready. Because I knew exactly what you were going through because I lost both my parents. So I knew exactly what you were going through. I've experienced loss, but I hadn't experienced the level of loss you did, which is your son. So yeah, it's a really interesting one, but mate, and then grief share came, hence, the focus.
Saved my life.
Yeah,
saved my life, Aaron. I mean, I to this day, dude, I still do it. And I mean, we're working on year number three, I believe, with them. Obviously, well, let's see, I'm in year two now. Um, but bro, I mean, and I'm going to tell you this story too, Aaron. So this is the dopest story. I don't know if I've ever said this on the pod or not. But how I found this group. So there's multiple groups. What's really dope is Colorado has a really, really big amount of groups that you can go to for grief share.
which is so
And
super cool, super
dude,
cool. Yeah.
there's literally a church that's a minute away from my house that offers it, right? So where my head was at was I said, I can't leave there and just go straight home. I would have to drive around a bit to decompress because I didn't know what I was getting myself into at that time. Still live to this day on that, but how I found this group was I started scrolling on the internet, looking at all of the different names of the instructors. Bro, so just so you guys know, right? Jaden's middle name is Nash. His middle name is after his papa, his grandfather, whose name is Nash, right? And bro, my instructors, how I pick them, just total random. And by the way, this church is like 20 minutes away from me. It's farther. Their last name is Nash.
Yeah, boy.
And it's dope because I tell that story in Grief Share every year on why I picked them. And they just hold a special place because it's almost like that was the way I was supposed to go.
Mm.
This is the group of people that I'm supposed to be with. These are the leaders I'm supposed to be with. And bro, it's been everything I expected and stuff I didn't expect. When I first went in there, I was a mess. Now I watch everybody else be a mess. I sometimes become a mess. Everybody does, but I can sit there now, bro. And what do we always say, Aaron? And I'm not going to switch this topic or anything like that, but what do we always say? We always say run to the pain,
Yep.
run toward it.
Yep.
Don't run away from it. And dude, running toward that pain and being able to get through it is what's helped me do what I do today, which is do the uncomfortable, do the painful, do the hard, and actually be able to show other people that I can do it. The person who hated it
Mm.
always, I mean, dude, I've told you this, Aaron. I look outside. Nope, it's too cold. I'm staying in. Nope, I'm not doing this. If it's too uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. Now, I will run exactly toward that because I want to see what it's all about. And that's what's got me here, brother.
Whoa.
Uh, that was a lot, dude.
No
Wow.
words. Like, there's a lot of things there that I hadn't heard. And, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I'm pretty sure everyone listening to this they've got something from it. And I think something from it. I want you to pop it into the comments if you're on YouTube. Pop it in the comments also, Spotify, Apple. Let's hear your story. Let's hear your takeaways. I mean, there was a lot
Yes.
there, a lot there. One of the biggest ones, which is typically at the end, that grief share saved you. And as a man and as men that find it really hard just to even fucking talk, I think that is definitely has to be a takeaway for a lot of men. It's just like get comfortable with being uncomfortable and just fucking start talking.
Bro,
However,
I love that you said that, Aaron. And I will say this, the message at the end of every semester of Grief Share is the story doesn't end with you healing. That's just the beginning. Meaning now, once again, you hold a superpower
mm,
to help others heal in that same place that bring you along through that journey as well and be able to say, hey, I'm a safe space and I'm here to listen. And however long it takes is how long it takes. But you know what? I'm here for
bro, what an episode. What an
it.
episode. And thank you everyone. John, fucking love you, man. Appreciate you
Love you
sharing.
too, brother. Appreciate everybody listening. Yeah, drop us some comments. We definitely want to hear from you guys for sure.
And it is Easter Sunday as we are recording this here in the Gold Coast. But obviously it's Easter Saturday in Colorado. So you've got your special day tomorrow. Um, Much love to everyone. Thank you so much. Have yourselves an incredible, incredible day. And if you're listening to this later on down the line, you just heard a pretty incredible story. So, and there's more to come. Thank you so much.
Yes. Take care, guys.